We are here for the fourth episode of Talk of the County live at NACO, the National Association of Counties annual meeting in Hillsborough County, Florida. And I'm here with a colleague of mine who has a lot of personality. I've learned as we've talked as members of the National Association of County Administrators, Bridgette Gransden of Midland County, Michigan, the home of Dow Chemical.
Yes.
That's got to be kind of a thing with having a chemical plant being is that the largest employer before we kick things
you
off?
know what? That is, well, first off, thanks for having me, Ken, on your podcast. I would say that Dow used to be the largest employer. So I think it's probably been 6 or 7 years ago now, they had a merger with DuPont, and then they split the large company into three. So out of that came Corteva, which was the ag division, the agricultural division of Dow and DuPont, and then DuPont came a separate, DuPont came out of that, and then Dow, what we would call Heritage Dow. So it's not, full company name isn't Dow Chemical anymore, it's just Dow.
Dow.
But with that split, the largest employer in the community actually became the health system. So our nonprofit hospital is actually the largest employer in the county now.
That's the case in many communities. Healthcare takes up a whole lot of real estate. Mm-hmm. And you think people would be in better shape health-wise when you take into account the number of healthcare facilities.
Right. Well, I mean, that being said, Dow certainly and the other companies still play a huge part in investing back into the Midland community. We just recently hosted, I want to say, the 4th or 5th anniversary of what's called the Dow Championship, which is an LPGA tournament. It was very well attended, and we had a great time.
So give me some background on how did you become to be county administrator. County administrator is not the thing you say that you want to be when you're 6 years old. Even though I met a young man that came to shadow me, he was a teen when he said he learned he wanted to be a county administrator. Oh, and really? It was the weirdest thing. I'm like, you wanted to be a what? How did you even know what a county administrator did? And he shadowed me, and he acted like I was a rock star.
Well, that's awesome. You are a rock star. Oh, it's good to be the Superman role model in someone's life. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
I would say I didn't necessarily want to be that when I was a young person. I've always been, when I was 6, I probably wanted to be a veterinarian, but don't all young girls want to help animals? I went to school for accounting, formally trained accountant, went into public accounting. When I was in public accounting, I did mostly audits of local governments, nonprofits, school districts. So I really liked governmental accounting, and for any accountants that are listening, I mean, it's very different than regular corporate accounting, right?
Right.
So I loved that, and I loved auditing because I like puzzles. I love to solve puzzles, and I felt like that's what auditing was. But about 3 years into it, I knew I was going to want to do something else, and the finance director's position opened at Midland County, which was right in my backyard pretty much. My public accounting gig was in another county. I had to drive a little bit. So I applied, and I didn't get it. I got a rejection letter. And a week later, 2 weeks later, I got a call from the administrator, and he said, well, the person we offered the position to wasn't interested really. She just wanted to use it for leverage. And
fate.
Yeah. And so at 25, I was finance director for Midland County and supervising 6 people. And for all intents and purposes, that position in Midland County is like the deputy administrative controller. So I did that for 15 years. I wasn't sure I really even wanted to do this job. I put my hat in the ring, and they offered me the job. I got to tell you, I was really unsure of myself the first few months. And about 7 months into the position, I was at a meeting where I felt like if it hadn't been for the connections and the negotiating that I did with the people in the room, the end result for the project wouldn't have happened. And I walked back to the office and I said to one of my department heads, hey, when we talked about, a few months back, I wasn't sure about this role. And he said, yep. I said, I'm meant to be here. I found this is my passion. This is what I want to do. And when I talk to people and the college kids at my alma mater, I say, if someone had ever told me that I would find my career and passion in local government, accounting, or local government, I would have told them they were crazy.
And where's your alma mater?
In Midland, Northwood University.
Northwood University.
Yeah.
They have a pretty decent basketball program, don't they?
They do. Yeah, they do. And they have an amazing auto show every year. So if you ever want to take a little drive.
I love cars. Don't say auto show.
It is it's one of the biggest auto shows.
I love cars, trucks, SUVs.
Even better,
rims. I like everything about a car.
Well, even better, it's always in the fall, and campus is beautiful in the fall. So I will make sure to send you all that information so you can. Who else should I send it to?
I'm a Michigan native.
Should I send it to Chris so she and these ladies can encourage you to come up?
Yeah, I need to check that out because I'm definitely a car guy.
Yeah,
I love
cars.
Native? I'm a Michigan native.
Where from?
Muskegon.
All right, it's a nice area.
Looked at Lake Michigan too many times in my life. I pay money and travel places to see water in different places, and don't go back to my hometown to look at Lake Michigan.
Yeah, we got fresh water, buddy.
People like dig that, the beach and great parks. I didn't have an appreciation for it. I guess I took it all for granted.
Yeah, well, it's like anything.
I went to Michigan State after leaving there.
Oh yeah, Michigan State. Okay, yeah, great school. Great
So
school.
Spartan's Wheel podcast, Spartan's Wheel.
That's so funny you say that because at the LPGA, the Dow Championship, Dow incorporates what is called their SOAR program. It's really their DEI program into the event, and they host a DEI summit. And their keynote speaker was Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, he can
way
talk.
Way
He is good.
Way back. I was in a minority apprenticeship program with Michigan State, and it was a program where you reported a couple months before the fall.
Okay, yeah.
Term. They were quarters then.
Yeah.
And Dow was a big recruiter.
Oh, yeah.
Dow was, they had numerous people speaking to us about, going into the particular majors and upon graduation,
and what was your
coming to
major?
work for Dow. American Public Affairs, with an emphasis on Metropolitan Studies. I started off in that program because I was recruited into it.
Nice.
And I was into the sciences. So ultimately, I went into James Madison and was into the whole pre-law track and got accepted to the Thurgood Marshall School of Law at Texas Southern and thought I was going to be the next power attorney. And, be in the courtroom, dressed to the nines and litigating.
Yeah.
But I had an advisor who said, you should get a master's first and then get your JD. And that's the rest of the story. Got tired of backpacks. And after I finished my master's at Ohio University, I'm
done.
I'm done. I'm done. So I got an incomplete. They're going to put an incomplete on my obituary that I didn't get that law degree.
Only if you keep telling people.
I'm transparent like that.
Here's the thing I find. When I say to those college kids, if someone had told me that I was going to be finding my passion and really making a difference in local government, I would have told them they were crazy. Because when our values and priorities change, right? What we want changes. I would have said, oh no, I'm going to move to New York. I'm going to make a bunch of money.
You change majors a lot. Yeah,
other
kids
things
change.
have value besides that.
I was a shallow young man, though.
Well, you're normal.
I was shallow. I was a very shallow. Talking to county listeners, I confess, I was a shallow young man in the fact that I wanted whatever major that would compensate well is what I was
get it.
seeking.
Yeah.
I was like, doctor, lawyer, which door I pick? Door number 1 or door number 2? Because I want to have nice things. And it was kind of like parental too. Like, if we're going to pay for your education, you need to get a job that pays some. You need a major that pays some. So that limited, what I could come home and say I was going to do. And I just slid into James Madison because I could slide in there and get a degree in American Public Affairs and Metropolitan Studies and have business as my cognitive, because I said a high percentage of their graduates actually go on to law school, or they go into the public service, or they go in, all of these different fields. So that got me under the wire to not have, folks saying you're going to end up having a job that don't do nothing. So I was shallow. I was like, the last thing I want is a little house with a picket fence. I want big things. So
were you a good student?
Yes, because I was good enough.
I was a great student.
I was good enough because I was not going to be that kid that people whisper about. Yeah, they went out, they ain't make it, they flunked on out. now they back at home. That was not gonna be that kid. That was my motivation. No, I was not gonna be the kid that show back up and had a lady in the church. He flunked out, right?
Well, look.
He probably was partying too much. That was not gonna be
You
me.
were not the only shallow student. I was a fabulous student. I graduated valedictorian in my college class. If I could have made any money being a student the rest of my life, I would have. I needed to make money. I wanted to make money. But I loved school. Like, we want to do the things we're good at, right? But I knew that couldn't happen. So, dude, you're not the only one.
Me with now, all of these years in public service and just wanting to help people. Wanting to elevate people, wanting to, talk about equity, talking about everybody having that opportunity to do well. And I grew into this person from that very shallow individual that was only focused on Kenneth Wilson future prosperity at that time.
Well, it has a different kind of payday.
I evolved.
That's all. It's just a different kind of payday.
So I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, you should
I evolved.
Yeah, you should be. That's great.
I'm humble. I also wake up and say that to myself each day, too.
Yeah. Well, we, as part of our job, right, in local government is really trying to take a look at what we're doing in a community, not just to improve quality of life, but how are we taking care of, how can we take care of, how can we lift up those folks who can't do that for themselves right now until they can.
Yeah. And if I wasn't humble in our jobs, the kind of things that'll happen to you will humble you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to be in these roles without a target on your back for real long. So if you can manage it, you're doing something right. There
were days when, going through this process and the things the adversity, you was like, I feel like I was 6'4" walking in the door. Now I'm 6'1" and my shoe size dropped 2 sizes.
Yeah.
Just from
it's humbling.
The drama.
Yeah.
Well, other people's drama,
Well,
the drama manager.
That is what you are.
We do a lot of that.
You're that, and really success in it. I always say success in this job is about a couple things. And I tell my kids that all the time and young people, that success is really about 50% skill and knowledge, and the other 50% is all relationships and how you manage them.
Yeah. I don't know if it's age and my nerves have been numb, but I can multitask in my head multiple problems at the same time and not get queasy. Well, I used to get queasy and just want to go.
Kept you up at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the minute you can start mastering how to tell the right story, because it's really all it is, right? You see, your diplomacy skills were already honed. You started this by saying, your colleague with a lot of personality. That was a beautifully diplomatic way to say that I'm sort of extra. And you know what? Thank you. Thank you. But it is about storytelling, right? Because you have to make, you have to be able to engage your elected commissioners and elected officials in a way that if they want to kind of run off the range a little bit and do their own thing, that, you can say, well, this is what I want to do, and here would be the result. This is what you want to do. How do you think that looks when it's over? Because if you position it that way, I'm not telling a commissioner
what to do.
Hey, this is what it's going to look like when we go down this path with your terrible idea. This is what, if we do this plan, how do you think that looks? And really, I'm being facetious, but I'm not.
No,
right?
you're giving us a real life example of how you met.
Well, because if I turn it around, and look, I have actually a great board. I don't have to do that very often. In 30 years, I've had to do it on occasion, but not right now. But what did I just do? I turned it around so that person has to actually start the thought process of what their plan or idea looks like when implementation is through. Because because I didn't give them the answer. What does that look like when we do what you want to do? Have you thought about, and if they start to answer, then we can start doing a little bit more questioning, and it still gets them thinking. But if they don't answer, that's an answer, right? If they can't come up with an answer, that's an answer.
That's an answer.
So.
On that, is there anything that keep you up at night as a county administrator for Midland County, Michigan? Do you have growth issues? Do you have concerns, or do you have aging demographics? What is?
Well, yes, all the above. So, our employee base is fairly tenured, right? So, I mean, I've been there 30 years, so I can, as you can imagine, there have been a lot of, and I've been in this role 15. So there have been a lot of my department heads that have retired before me that I've had to, recruit and fill those positions. And the workforce is just becoming more transient, right? So when you have global companies in your backyard, you end up with a little bit more transient population.
A lot of people went home and didn't want to come back after
Yeah,
the
that
pandemic.
happened too.
They just like, I'm not going back anymore.
Right. But we have one of the biggest issues, and we've talked a little bit about it today and the topics we had in our idea exchange for the county administrators at the conference here. And child care is one. We have plenty of licensed child care facilities, but we don't have enough people to work in them. So they could take more small humans into their care, but we don't have enough workers. And
then the system doesn't pay them enough for what the value of the work they do.
Right. And there are just fewer people in the workforce that want to work, right? Yeah. And then one of the other biggest issues is housing. We just do not have enough housing stock in Midland County. So the population of Midland is just under 85,000 of the whole county. The city of Midland is the largest local government inside the county, and it is about half of that, the population. Okay, so the other local units of government are 16 townships, 1 village, and another small city. So that makes up the balance of the other 40-some thousand people. In last month, at any given time, the maximum amount of homes available for purchase in Midland County was just under 100.
That's a tight market.
It is. That's very tight. So when you have global companies and large employers, whether they're a nonprofit hospital who's trying to recruit doctors, and a local government who's trying to recruit professional positions, and corporations that are trying to recruit, it's difficult to bring people in and say, hey, come live here and come work for us if they can't find a place to live. So that is one of the things that, as a group of community leaders, we have a body we call Community Success Panel, which is made up of business, agriculture, nonprofit, local government, and we have set community strategy around a lot of these key performance, key focus areas that we think will impact or can impact for the long term sustainability and for our community, and also impact the ability of our residents to thrive, which is our community vision statement that we established about 10 years ago now. Back in 2014, we had a community strategic planning session, for lack of a better description. And we came up with a community vision statement, which is together, forward, bold, Midland County, an inclusive community where everyone thrives. So that is kind of what we use as a basis for a lot of the things that we look at implementing as far as new programming or areas that we really want to try as a group of invested individuals and organizations. How do we make an impact and move the bar in those areas?
That's a great thing.
Yeah.
Whether you like salty snacks or sugary sweets,
Right.
that is all good.
Right.
Like I want to go to Midland.
Yeah.
Midland is.
As far as the other thing that keeps me up at night, which is more tangible, which is related just to county government, is back in 2020, about 3 months into a global pandemic, we had a historic flood and 2 dams failed. So as public information officer, I was doing a lot of press conferences because we actually, in less than 24 hours, had to evacuate about 11,000 people.
Wow.
From Wixom Lake, which is just at the edge of Gladwin County, which is just north of us, and borders Midland, 2.9 trillion gallons of water emptied out of Wixom Lake through the Tittabawassee River into downstream to Sanford Lake when the Edenville Dam broke on Wixom and then proceeded to come down and breach Sanford Dam. And Sanford Dam is in Midland County.
Wow.
So the whole village of Sanford was really wiped out. And to the credit of our first responders and our emergency management crew and everybody that was in the EOC, nobody was hurt. Nobody died.
So you had, in real life, you experienced what emergency management is planned for.
Yes.
And they have exercises.
Yes, and we
like,
actually.
what if this major dam breaks?
Well, and the dams were privately owned. And we actually exercised this scenario the previous September. And there's a long history with this property, with the dam owner who has now filed bankruptcy. But we were in the process of starting to purchase the dams.
How do you make money off a dam?
Well, you don't.
Man, that's why when
you don't, buddy.
you can't make money off a dam, owning a dam.
Yeah. Well, you can if they're powered generating dams, hydroelectric dams.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
two out of the 4 in the whole system were the 2 that broke. But we were in the process of trying to purchase those and take ownership of those just for the benefit of the residents, right? So that we wouldn't have to worry about what happened with a private owner.
Yeah.
And now we have Midland and Gladwin counties we have a contract together with a nonprofit called 4 Lakes Task Force. They are what we call our designated authority, and we have been working with them to basically establish a special assessment district that helps pay for the operation and maintenance of the dam and the repairs. We have lobbied the state of Michigan government and the federal government for, I would say, total about $140 million to help with the repairs. There's been some legal concerns. Some of the property owners are unhappy about having to pay an assessment, but at this point, I want to stick around to see those dams rebuilt, right?
Yeah,
it's important.
I'm a free market person, but there are certain assets that I think belong in the public hand.
Yeah.
And a dam would meet that class.
There's a lot of infrastructure, like, these dams were 100 years old. And we could let the water just go back to the run of the river, Ken, but that costs money too. So the environmental departments at the state of Michigan won't let us just leave the structures that were left after the dams. You actually have to decommission a dam and take it all out. It costs almost as much as rebuilding it.
Wow,
So,
wow.
and those lakes actually bring a lot of economic development to the community. People come, whether they, we have one of our county parks is on the lake too, so that is a nice. When there was COVID and you couldn't go inside anywhere and do anything, and we told people to get out to the parks, it really was the worst timing. I think in one of the press conferences I said we have the benefit of managing 2 emergencies at one time, COVID and this.
And the food.
And if you can think through, if you've ever had to manage an emergency in your community, think about the challenges with congregate sheltering and in a global pandemic, we're not supposed to put anybody next to each other. So we had to find places for people to stay. And we actually were squeezed into the Emergency Operations Center and had extra people around. And we had so many volunteer groups come into the community too. And that was early on in COVID. We actually had the Michigan National Guard come up about 3 weeks later and do testing for people in the community. And we didn't have, I think, maybe 3 cases of COVID.
Wow.
So, and with all the reporting, because you had to do and the health department does report to me. So I was managing that along with the dam failures.
You wear multiple hats.
I think I operated.
You're the public information officer. You the health commissioner. The health department reporting to you.
Yeah, right. And emergency management.
And emergency management.
Yeah, along with about 13 other departments that are direct reports to me. But I got to tell you, I think I lived on adrenaline for quite a while. I mean, you just don't come down out of it. You do what you need to do.
You just walk through the hallways of the Midland County Administrative Building, feeling like you have an S on your chest. You're like, I gotta have this confidence and swagger to do all these jobs, wear all these hats. All the employees looking to you at all times for leadership.
Yeah.
And you looking to say, who do I vent to? Whom do I get? The time and abilities to be able to talk to, or even to have a mentor.
I have several. Actually,
talk on that a minute.
Yeah, one of my favorite mentors is the guy by the name of Terry Moore. He actually was the CEO and president of the health system in Midland, and he is. He's no nonsense. He's direct and he's supportive. And he's outside of local government, right? So I can have a conversation very confidentially and not worry about anything, being communicated back to somebody that it shouldn't. So I would say, have you gone through the NACO Leadership Academy?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm part of it, though.
Okay,
you
so
should see my face in there, unless they cut me out.
Well, so when I went through, one of the things, now I had already done this, but it was really important to have, I loved having it reinforced that it was the right thing to do, and that is having my own personal board of directors, right? That group of people that were my colleagues, peers, or mentors that I could go to and just bounce stuff off of.
Right.
Because at some point, if you don't do that, you won't come in the next day, right?
Right.
And I know that I need to avoid that. So I do a lot of debriefing with people. I used to journal a little bit. I don't do as much of that anymore because it takes a little more time. And that's something that's a commodity I don't have much of, right? So I do very much try and, quickly when something happens that I feel the need to really get off my chest, I reach out to those folks right away. Because if I let it sit with me too long, then it eats at me. That anxiety, that stuff that starts to keep you up at night. And not necessarily because it may have an impact on the community. It might just be me personally, right? Something that I may have misinterpreted. Like, did I read that wrong? Did they just say this? Did I miss the message? Should I have done something different? I think those are the things that are the hardest for most people to get by, because it's easy, that deflecting, it's easy to, or avoidance. I'll help you all day, Ken. let's talk about your problems. If I don't want to talk about mine because that takes a little bit more internal reflection, and sometimes I don't really want to hear what I have to tell myself, right? But the other thing that I do besides talking to those folks is I am very vulnerable with my team. So I used to say that I have put on probably 1,000 Oscar-worthy performances in my career, and I'm still doing that when I need to. There are some days, because when you walk in the door from the office, you can't always easily leave the things that have happened, whether it's at home, friends, health issues. It's hard to leave all that stuff. You can't just flip a switch and expect all those things to be off your brain. Some people are better at, putting up that veil and managing that performance. And I'm very
Putting the
good
stuff
at
in a
it.
box when they go to work.
That compartmentalizing it.
You put it in a box.
Yeah, I'm very good at it. But this is what I did. Finally, I realized probably about 6 years ago. It is not good for me, and it's certainly not good for my team for me to do that, because they need to know that it's okay to not be okay. And if I say that to them, it's just words if I can't model it too. And there are times where I say, look, I know we have this meeting, but I've got kind of a lot going on and a lot on my brain right now. So if I seem distracted, please, it's not you, just pull me back. And there have been other times where I've said when someone needs to meet with me, you know what, I just can't, I'm really kind of struggling today. But it took a lot for me, for someone who's been very successful
That's a lot of
in
courage.
a huge role, it took a lot for me to be able to get to that point, right? But it because I used to think that it would show weakness. It doesn't. It shows wisdom.
Yeah, it's a special type of courage because you don't want to let people know that you don't have it all under control.
Right. But it's silly to think that we always have everything under control, right? And it's a great.
That's what our performance review would suggest, that we should, in order to be successful, have everything under control.
Right.
At all times.
Right. Which has also been a huge benefit for me, is I know I talked a little bit in some of our other meetings about the Midland Wellbeing Coalition, the Midland Area Wellbeing Coalition. So back in 2018, there were about 40 of us in the community that had 6 months worth of training to be certified in applied positive psychology, which really focused on well-being techniques and things that we use the PERMA model, which has different pillars: positivity, engagement, relationships, meaning, activity, and health. Areas of our lives that we can focus on and really try to hone to feel better and to help us thrive. Because if you woke up in the morning and said, how am I doing today on a scale of 1 to 10? And if your answer was, I think I'm a 7 or 8 almost every day. If you woke up and did that same exercise and, I'm just a 3 or 4 today, like, why? And what can you do? Yeah. How do you get back to that? So learning these techniques and sharing them with others so that well-being really becomes part of the culture, not in our organizations, but also in the community, was really important to us. Because we know everybody is not okay all the time.
Yeah, that's a great question to ponder, because one school of thought would be, if I wake up and I'm a 3 or a 4 or lower, I should call off and not go in. But if you got the support around you, you're a 3 or 4, you go in and you're in a supportive environment.
Right.
Maybe by lunchtime, you feel like, it's more like I'm at a 7.
Right. And it could be just something transitional that day. You may have something going on in your life, like if you have a family member who's been sick or in the hospital or is struggling with something and it's impacting you, what can I do to help get myself through this day too? And having that support network is good, but understanding also what you can do for you, right? Because you're the only thing you can control.
Because
is helpful.
A lot of people just stay at home and they use a lot of their leave when they don't feel like being around other people, and and they're dealing with things, and they spend the time just off, but not healing at all.
Right. And not figuring out a way to make it a little bit better.
Right.
So we say, our definition of well-being in Midland for the Well-Being Coalition is struggling well and functioning effectively, right? So how can we figure out ways to get through the storm and just bouncing back, right? How do we struggle well? How do we help people struggle well? Not that it's going to be ideal, and we can't take your struggles away, but when you have them, how do we get you? How do you get through them and still be okay and maybe even better on the other side? So those tools, I think, are really important. It's a lot of the positive psychology and well-being work we do is based in positivity and character strengths. So if you're curious about surveys, you could go on to VIA.org, which is Values in Action, and there's a character strength survey. So, and there's actually one for, I think, youth too, from 12 to 18, and then there's one for adults.
Okay.
But the premise is, and there's a lot of science behind this, and we're a science-based town in Midland, so we can't do stuff that's just all fluff, man. It's got to have some science base to it, or we're going to get everyone's going to snub their noses at us with all the PhDs we got in the community. But the character strengths, there are 24 character strengths that have been tested that everybody has. But your top 5 are what we would call your key strengths or your signature strengths, and those are the things that give you energy. So they're your keys, your top strengths, your middle strengths, and your bottom strengths. So those bottom strengths, and it's about learning a new language, and I'm like the queen of reframing. So I can try and turn anything into something positive, right? And so when I did a lot of this training, even for my department heads, my health director would say, well, these are my weaknesses. I'm like, Fred, we don't use that word. These are your lower strengths, lesser strengths. Right? Right. So when I first did that test with the class of 40 in 2018.
We don't say weaknesses, folks. We say lesser strengths.
You know why? Because the minute you start talking negative and weaknesses in here, Ken, that's what your body is saying and that's what you're thinking about. So you need to reframe things into positive ways. So I'd love for you to take it and tell me, after you take the survey, don't tell me what your results are. And I'm gonna try. And I haven't known you too long, but I'm gonna try and guess what your top 5 are.
Okay.
I'll let you know. And you don't know what the 24 are, but I'll tell you what my top 5 are.
Okay.
Kindness, humor, curiosity, hope, and love. And I was super upset.
You nailed it. That's a Hallmark card.
Well, you want to know what? I used to joke that I should have part ownership in Hallmark cards because I actually still send snail mail all the time. I send cards everywhere. Everybody in the building knows if they need a card for something, where are they coming?
You got it.
I have red rope files full of cards. I can't get out of a damn store without buying a card.
You like Walgreens.
I am. And that's my favorite convenience store. When I travel, the first thing I do is locate what, Ken?
Walgreens.
The closest on the corner of Happy and Healthy. Come on now. You thought I was joking.
Oh God, yeah. You own the club. You got a membership.
So
you got a membership.
The thing. When I first took that survey, I was so stressed out about the results because leadership was not in my top 5. I was like, oh my God, don't anybody tell the board, right? That leadership is not in my top 5. And our instructor, who's
your boy be like, she's soft. She's fluffy.
Look at, she's fluffy. Hey,
she's Sherman tissue soft.
well, I'm glad you just said that because you know what our instructor said to me? He's like, B, it's okay because your top 5 signature strengths are how you lead. You lead with kindness, humor, curiosity. You ask questions. You want to know things, and hope. You have hope for everybody, and you show love to people, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh, I'm good. I felt a lot better about that.
Compassion and motivation can go together. Compassion and motivation
Absolutely.
can go together.
And, we heard a lot today in our meeting about retaining and recruiting employees. People want to know that they're cared about and that they're valued.
We all need something different.
Yeah.
One small thing that I do that I've had employees come up to me with the biggest smile on their face is in our payroll system. When they log in, and it's their birthday,
Oh,
they
nice,
get a
yeah.
message from me
Oh, that's awesome.
telling
That
them
is-
happy birthday.
Those things mean a lot. When's your birthday?
May 14th.
May 14th.
Can't tell you the year though.
Oh, well, mine's July 23rd. Coming up. And I'll tell you the year, 69. I'm going to be 55. I'm grateful for every birthday. The older I get, every birthday becomes a landmark birthday.
I'm older than that by a little bit, just a little bit. 68.
I would have said that. Or maybe just a few
And that
months
was
older
like,
than
you
me.
know, that's like a turbulent time to have been born.
Right.
The world, the United States was on fire essentially.
Yeah, my dad had just gotten
Through
back
my-
from Vietnam, married my mother in September. She got pregnant in October, and next July, there I was. And I have checked those certificates just to make sure that the dates are accurate.
So it's that is compassionate leadership. I strive to be a servant leader, not just trying to, dictate, but lead through example.
Yeah,
And get everybody to understand the why.
absolutely. I ask people that question all the time. What is your why? And that's the curiosity piece too, right? You know, when I said earlier in our meeting, like one of my favorite quotes, and it's actually been very, very helpful advice for me to implement, the Walt Whitman quote, be curious, not judgmental. Because the minute I rush to judgment, instead of asking a question, if someone comes in my office and they're railing at me about something, chances are 98% it doesn't have anything to do with me, right? Like, what just happened to them? Who were they talking to? What happened this morning? Did their kids get off to school okay? I mean, all of these things build in us, right? And if we don't know how to manage it or communicate it very well, and most of the time when you're in the middle of something really emotional, we just don't. So to have someone really take some time and ask instead of rushing to judgment, it doesn't mean I don't always, right? I'm human.
Yeah.
But it has helped me. I think I've been a better leader because of it.
Yeah. I love people that take a if not me, who attitude. I just
Right.
love
Right.
those type of people.
Right. Well, when you think about that context, you could encourage your whole team to think like that, right? If it's not them helping the constituents or the public, if it's not them helping a coworker, if it's not them, helping someone that they see struggling getting a cart in at the grocery store, then who else is going to
If I could do that, Franklin County probably name a building after me. If I get like 6,700 people saying, if not me, who? We'd be going somewhere.
I
They
think
have a
that-
parade for me and everything. I have all these people smiling and behind me, and I could be in the back of a Corvette just waving.
Well, I just want to ask this question. Why can't you get them? Why can't you could send out an email every Monday? Here's your thought for the week. If not me, then who?
I get
It
quotes.
could be
I don't
your
know how
quote-
about
it
them
could be-
quotes. I
it
don't
could
know how about them quotes go. I have everybody do every Wednesday.
It could be your tagline on your signature on your email. If
Yeah,
not me, then
I
who?
love if not me, who.
Right.
They just want to do stuff, They just want to do stuff. They just want to do extra. Now I want you to think before you do it.
Yeah.
Run
what's
it
the
by
why?
me. Get a
What's the
cosigner.
why? Yeah.
I don't want you just making up stuff or just
Right.
going off doing stuff.
Yeah.
That gets you in trouble too.
Well, it gets you in trouble too, right? So you
Yeah.
can't protect them if you don't
If
know.
I
I don't
don't
want to
know
be
what they done.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to be very supportive 99% of the time, but don't surprise me.
Let me know
please.
what you did. Yeah,
I don't want surprises.
I know we connected in that way.
Last thing I want is a
connect.
commissioner calling me
Yeah,
asking
I
me
don't
about
like-
something that I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
Because then I'm probably going to be a whole lot less curious and a lot
Yeah.
judgmental when I make a phone call.
The world of an administrator is messed up when you got a bunch of people just running off doing stuff.
Yeah.
Because the first person you're going to hear from, if something show up in the newspaper or some important constituent is upset,
Yeah.
you're going to get a text. Why did they do that? I
Right.
don't know. I ain't talk to them today. I don't know why they did it.
And that's the worst thing that we can say too is I don't know, right? Because
I
then it
didn't
makes
talk
us look
to-
like we don't
we-
know what we're doing. Yeah. And even though you don't know what you don't
You can't
know.
watch everybody. Yeah, you can't watch everybody.
Yeah,
you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
But in our world, when somebody goes off and do something, it's like the first question is,
Why?
you didn't know what they were about to do.
Right. Yeah.
And then that makes us overcorrect and send
Yeah.
out a memo to everybody saying, don't breathe without letting me know what you're doing. We overcorrect and say, do not breathe without me. Let me
Right.
know what you're doing.
I started doing check-in questions at the beginning of my staff meeting too that have nothing to do with work. Just to sometimes people are edgy in a meeting and you don't know why. So it sort of just puts everybody on a level playing field and gives them a chance to decompress a little bit before we actually start going through reports and an agenda.
What do you do with the employee that's like that every day? They walk in every meeting edgy. They like stuck in edgy mode. How does Bridgette deal with that Susan or
You want to know this is what I
Karen
quit
or
doing.
that?
This is what I quit doing. Hey Ken, how you doing today? I don't ask that anymore because you always have this same 2 or 3 people that say, oh, it's another day. I'm all right, or I got to be here, or, oh, it's Monday. Okay, I didn't ask you what day of the week it was. I asked you how you were doing. So this is what so now I don't give them a chance to say that. I meet you in the hallway. Ken, hi. Hey, what's good today, buddy? Tell me something good.
Nothing ain't good today.
Oh, come on. Well, I'm not letting that slide. So
I had a long night. My son didn't go to bed, and the dog was barking.
And you still got up on time and made it to work on time? Good on you, buddy.
No, actually, I was 30 minutes late. And some employees will tell you, actually, I just got here.
And then you know what I'd say? I am so grateful you're here, and your coworkers will be too. Thanks for coming. I'm telling you, queen of reframing,
You just kill all that negativity they bring in.
I bought myself a sweatshirt at the last ICMA Local Government Reimagined I went to in Vermont, Burlington, Vermont. And I went to this little spa. I had rented a car. I went to this little spa, scheduled myself a massage, and they had this great little gift shop. And everything in it was like triple overpriced. And I still bought something because it spoke to me. So, I mean, is your wife having I love it, like it, love it, gotta have it scale?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
well, this was on the gotta have it scale.
Yeah.
It's a sweatshirt, and on the front it says spiritual gangster. And on the back, in a repeating hollow square, are these words, eternal optimist, eternal optimist, eternal optimist. That's my favorite sweatshirt.
Yeah, that's the kryptonite to a hater.
It is. It is.
the kryptonite
I'm not going
to
to
a
let you
hater.
walk away with the last negative word. I am going
That's the kryptonite to a hater.
fill you with kindness.
I mean, there are some people that treat their job like it's school, like it's a truancy law or something that they can't drop out.
Yeah.
They can't find another job.
I
I'd be
was-
like, you ain't got to be here. I can write you a letter of recommendation
Right.
too. And
There are other
I can set
opportunities.
all aside. That's when I become an optimist. I'll put away many things I may have thought about you and write you the glossiest letter for you to go on and seek happiness, the pursuit of happiness.
That's right. Well,
Just like the movie.
I have annoyed a few people when most everybody is TGIF, thank God it's Friday. I'm like TGIM, thank God it's Monday. I got another week to try and do this stuff.
So, no, that don't work for people. They be like, darn Monday.
Not everybody is drinking my Kool-Aid.
And they want Monday as like that's not good.
Well.
The worst thing in the world you can do to some people is tell them they can't have their birthday off.
Yeah, well.
Now you want to make some enemies.
Well,
Taking somebody's birthday and all.
I've always been very flexible with, as much as I can be, with my team and even when I was finance director. And I actually had the HR director say to me one time, "You're just too forgiving or too flexible." And I'm like, I give people a lot of grace because someday I'm going to need it. And I would like to think that people will remember it. Because none of us go through life without needing a little extra grace and flexibility sometimes.
Extra, yeah, everybody needs a little extra sometimes.
Yeah. The person I don't give the grace to that I need to more often is myself. And we beat ourselves up a lot in these positions. So that is something I am working on a little bit. And I did, like in the last 6 months, I don't sleep well. At my age, we'll just leave that out there. you ladies will understand what I mean. I do not sleep well, so it is very difficult for me to get up in the morning and be anywhere by 8 o'clock. I have quit scheduling. If it's my meeting to schedule, I do not schedule any meetings before 9. 10 if you want me at my best. I don't show up at the office normally until 9 o'clock. And now I'm there until between at least 6:30, 7:30, sometimes later at night. But, you know, meeting people where they are is really important. And if we can do that in a way that doesn't hamper what programs and services we offer to the residents, you know, I'm all for that. Because everybody, you know, my internal clock is a little different than everybody else's right now. I'm hoping someday it's going to go back, but
no,
I don't know
it
when.
won't go back.
No?
It won't go back. Once you get locked in,
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of
you
screaming
might
into
get
the
up
board
ear-
meetings sometimes because they're at 9 a.m.
You might just start getting up earlier and earlier after not sleeping well.
Yeah.
That
That might be.
Because you got, you know, I think it's like having a lot on your mind.
It is.
One of the things that I attempt to do is be self-aware.
Yeah, self-reflection's a hard thing for people, but it's
I try
important.
to be consciously asking myself, look at yourself. I used to, I misplaced it, I don't know how, but I mentioned it to people anyway, and they moments of being critical of me. I'm like, I'm my hardest critic. I keep a
we all
mirror
are, yeah.
in my desk, and I pull it out and look at myself.
I have one on my desk, but it's just to fix my hair most
you
of the time. You could use yours to fix your hair. Ken.
Yeah, you know, I kept that mirror to just look at my wife would say it's because you like taking selfies of yourself and you like looking at yourself anyway. But I say it's for me to look at being self-aware.
Yeah, self-reflection, that's a great thing. It is. And
Because if
it's
you
hard
don't know
for people.
yourself, you as a leader, if you don't know yourself and you don't try to see where you may irritate
Yeah.
other people, you can
Yeah.
find yourself starting off with 20 people running down the field when you say, let's go
go."
towards the goal
Yeah.
line. Turning around, you done ran the whole sprint. You look back, they all looking at you.
Right.
They all looking at you. They said, I quit 2 weeks ago. You
Yeah.
just didn't know it.
Yeah.
You was too busy being yourself. You didn't
Yeah.
even know it.
That's really, that's really an astute observation because, and it's hard because when you don't, if you have not been able as a leader to create that psychologically safe environment for people to come to you and say, you seem off your game, or I know you probably didn't mean it this way, but this is how I felt when you said X, Y, or Z. And I've had, a handful of moments when department heads have come and said, I don't think you meant it because I don't think you're malicious or intentionally trying to hurt somebody, but here's what. And I'm so grateful when they do that because I didn't realize that. And if, like anything else, I'm not a mind reader. And my sense of, I always
You don't
think
play one on TV?
and I have not stayed at a Holiday Inn Express either recently, so I can't do that. But I will tell you that there are, I joke because my top 2 character strengths is humor because I think I'm funny, even if nobody else does.
No, you funny. You funny.
Thank you.
I think
Wit.
I'm funny
See, my
sometimes
mother
too.
used to call it sarcasm. I said it's wit, Mother, and it's from Dad. It's from my father. It's not sarcasm. It's wit. I also have a horrible potty mouth. I've only sworn once, I think, in this podcast. I'm very proud of myself. These are things I've owned the older I've gotten, and these are sentences.
You don't have to clean his vocabulary. It would be good to.
Right. Well, you know what? I own it, but I also rationalize it. I was raised by a Marine who also worked in the foundry in Saginaw for General Motors. Okay? Look, I was around a lot of that.
Yeah.
But some people, that's one of the things I do to decompress is cuss.
Cuss it.
Like some people swear, some people smoke, some people drink, I swear.
Cussing is a stress reliever.
I will tell you as a female.
It's better on your organs.
I will tell you as a female, if
things you
there's
could
some way I want to get somebody's attention that I don't think's paying attention in a conversation, drop an F-bomb.
Yeah, that'll get their attention. That'll get their attention.
And it just makes me more human.
Then
My
they're gonna
health-
write, but you do that too much, they're gonna be sending emails to your commissioners. She cussed me out for no reason whatsoever.
Actually, it was funny because my health department director he started timing, like how soon into my monthly staff meeting does she drop an F-bomb? And the one I had Wednesday, I went over an hour. I was so proud of myself.
Did not cuss
That's a
for
lot.
1 hour. 1 hour of
I may have cussed. I don't think I did, but I did not drop an F-bomb.
You provided 1 hour of direction and
That's right.
dialogue
Without
cussing.
without it.
1 hour.
When my kids were small, I never ever swore at home. So I swore a lot at work. I'm like, I got to get it out somewhere.
See,
You know, people who swear are honest and bright.
you know,
Look it up. There's been a study.
When you read my bio, you read your bio, you see our face on the website. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't even know the people who we are. You just think, what is a county administrator? That's probably the
People
boringest
don't know.
person. That's probably Bridgette, probably the boringest person ever to be around.
It's an
Nobody wanna be around
exciting
Bridgette.
job. There's a lot of chaos. And I manage chaos all the time.
Yeah,
Nothing.
people
It's
wouldn't
not
know that.
boring. Yeah.
Yeah, people
No.
don't, and that's why I conceived Talk of the County.
That's
quite
why
honestly.
That's why I do biscuits with Bridgette.
Okay,
I provide cookies, though, Ken.
let's talk about the cookies. Are they the kind of cookies you get on the airplane, or are they?
They're
different type of
shortbread.
cookies?
They're like English biscuits. So in England,
You give them some tea with the cook. Do you get some tea with
bring
biscuits?
them tea if they wanted. But most of the time, I just have this nice little pink box with my logo, Biscuits with Bridgette.
You got a logo?
Yes.
Oh,
You better
man,
check out my Facebook page. It's the
I'm
county's
slip-
Facebook page.
I'm slipping out. I need a logo.
You know what I don't have yet? A T-shirt. I need a T-shirt with my logo on it. Biscuits with Bridgette.
I'm done. I am totally done. You got a logo.
I'm starting to do like lightning round questions at the end of my Biscuits with Bridgette. I got a couple for you. Like I can ask you, right?
Yeah, because
Okay.
we rounding out.
All right, let me see. What is the most recent TV show you binged watched?
A TV show. I was gonna say Sanford and Son.
Oh my gosh, you know what's funny about that? So so did you watch it on Peacock?
I see. Yeah, it was
app?
on
Okay.
something. I just like Fred G. Sanford. Funny.
He is funny.
You big dummy.
He is funny. He is hilarious. Yeah. Ethel, I'm coming. He is funny. I watch to this day, since I blame my mother for this, Days of Our Lives every day, and I can only watch it on the Peacock app. And so when I'm done with the day's episode, the app, all that artificial intelligence in there, kicks up something new.
I'm gonna feel like, and Bridgette, I'm gonna provide you with bonus content to your lightning round question. I
Okay.
feel as though I binge watched 2.5 Men, and you want to know why?
Why?
It's because my wife plays it every single night. TV Land logo, I know. I just see it in the corner.
Yeah.
And I'm watching 2.5 Men every night, literally before I become unconscious. and
So
go to
you
sleep.
get a bonus. Yes, you get a bonus binge every day thanks to her.
So
You're lucky.
I watched the little what was he started off as a little boy to
Yep.
being almost 18 on there. Mm-hmm. And then I think I watched it till Ashton Kutcher came into the scene.
It wasn't as good after that. It just wasn't. Sorry. Now you're getting my editorial commentary. Okay, here's the next lightning round question. If you could travel anywhere that you haven't been yet, where would it be?
Barcelona.
And why?
Because first I was when the Dream Team back in the day, when it was the original Dream Team with Jordan and Barkley and
Yeah.
Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. The Olympics was in Barcelona.
Yep, I just heard this story from Magic.
And they were on, I was kind of watching them, chronicling them while they were in Barcelona at the practice. I'm like,
be there.
Barcelona look like that. Spain, I don't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to travel everywhere.
Yeah.
My passport, I don't want to go everywhere.
So
Some
that-
places don't even sound attractive that people
Yeah,
go to.
right. Isn't that funny how that one memory triggered that dream for you and you want to make that happen sometime. And I said that like I just heard that from Magic, like we're buddies. No, he shared that story. Somebody asked him a question at the presentation he was doing at the Dow Championship LPGA. Okay, what's your favorite food?
Chicken wings.
What's your favorite
Hot.
dessert?
I don't like sweets.
Oh, God.
But if I
And
do,
I thought we were friends.
if I do have red velvet cake.
Oh, okay. Red velvet cake. All right. What is, I know you already talked about seeing a lot of Lake Michigan. What is your favorite childhood memory?
That is a good one. Probably it would be, I would have had to been getting something. How old I had to be?
Christmas?
When I got my first car.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
When I got my first really nice car.
Yeah. Right. What was it?
Mustang 5.0.
Ooh, sweet. What color?
Blue.
Ooh.
And anybody that know me, I wear a lot of blue. I got a blue vehicle right now, matter of fact.
That's awesome. Okay, I know we're wrapping up. I'll make this the last question. Now think this through. Is it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers?
I say yes, but due to for the spirit of it all. You should not eat anything with a face, even if it's a piece of cookie.
I love that. That's so funny. So when I just did,
go ahead.
Yes, you're right. I did when I did biscuits with Bridgette with our minor league baseball team. Our mascot is a loon, Lou E. Loon, and I asked him that same question, and he looked like this. He went with his wings. He looked like this and went, "It's wrong," just like that. Can't do it. Like,
It's
okay,
just flat out wrong.
I think the jury might be out, but I'm with you.
You shouldn't eat animal crackers if you're a
vegetarian.
Because the whole foundation of being a vegetarian
Is
is
no
that
animals,
I don't
no
eat
meat.
anything with a face or that swims.
Oh,
The whole basis of it all.
Thanks for having
Bridgette,
me.
I've had a great time with you, just kicking it.
Yeah, this has been fun,
It's
thank
going to
you.
be a very entertaining episode for somebody.
well,
Make
sure I get the link. I'll laugh at it as I watch it all over again.
Yeah, we're not for everybody.
No.
We're not for everybody.
I say
That's
that all
just
the
true.
time.
We're
I'm
not for everybody. Yeah, we're not for everybody. But
Yeah.
I enjoyed this conversation, and I value you as a colleague.
Yeah, same. Thanks, Ken.
And I think that the National Association of County Administrators is an organization that has room for a lot of growth. And we need to promote ourselves more.
Yeah.
Because we impact the lives of millions and millions of people across the country in the work we do.
Yeah, and each other. The networking is really critical for us to be able to do our jobs the right way.
Yeah, we do different events like Ideal Exchange, etc. So we are wrapping up this podcast live from Hillsborough County, Florida. It's about 100 degrees outside with the humidity, but we are in the comfort of air conditioning, and I'm not planning on going outside
Ditto.
anytime soon. We're in a lot of meeting rooms, and that's a good thing, as warm as it is. So I just want to thank you again, Bridgette, and I wish the best for Midland County, Michigan. And we are wrapping this up. And how I always end each episode is with these words: do you, because no one else has time to.